Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Red 5 Reviews. I hope that you all are doing well and having a wonderful holiday season. Now, today's episode is a review for the Lando Calrissian Adventures. I've also heard this called the Lando Trilogy, as it does feature 3 books revolving around Lando Calrissian. We have Lando Calrissian and the Mindharp of Sharu, Lando Calrissian and the Flamewind of Odeon, and Lando Calrissian and the Starcave of ThonBoka. Now, those 3 books were all written by L. Smith, and they were all published back in 1983. Now, this particular printing, which happens to be my personal favorite compared to all the other printings, was released back in 2014. I just love the design. The cover art was by Scott Beale, and I just, it might be a hot take, but I love the overall design, the color scheme, the input of the Millennium Falcon, and just compared next to the Han Solo Adventures by Brian Daly. It just looks great. I just love the designs of these books. They're both very similar design concepts with just different color schemes. Now, this will be a spoiler-free review. But with that all said, guys, let's do this. As mentioned earlier, the Lando Calrissian Adventures features 3 books. I originally wanted to review each book individually, but due to some scheduling issues, for today I'm going to go ahead and review the whole Adventures book, but definitely going to attempt to revisit these soon and review them individually. Here's a brief summary for each adventure, read from the back of the book cover. Lando Calrissian and the Mindharp of Sharu. Gambler, rogue, and con artiste, Lando Calrissian was more comfortable at the dealer's end of a fast shuffle than at the rear end of a blaster, so he always had his sensors scanning for the chance to pick up easy credits. And when he heard that the planets of the Rafa system were practically buried in ancient alien treasure, he hopped aboard the Millennium Falcon, never stopping to think that someone might be conning the con man. Lando Calrissian and the Flamewind of Odeon. The Odeon was a solar system of luxury hotels catering to the underemployed filthy rich. Every gambler's dream come true. And so it was for Lando Calrissian and his robot companion until Lando broke the gambler's cardinal rule: never beat a cop at high-stakes games of chance. And finally, Lando Calrissian and the Starcave of ThonBoka. For a year, Lando Calrissian and Vufi Ra, his 5-armed robot astrogator, had roamed space in the Millennium Falcon on the lookout for opportunities to turn an easy, but not too dishonest credit. But then Lando had gone out on a limb to help a race of persecuted aliens, and now he and Vufi were up against several sets of their own enemies, including the evil Roker Gepta, the Sorcerer of Tund. I was actually surprised by these books. I always liked Lando as a character, but I was originally concerned that I wouldn't like these books that much, since they didn't really revolve much around the other characters like Han, Luke, and Leia. But I was wrong. These books are really good, and I really enjoyed them. And even though the other characters aren't the focus of these books, they still have some interesting characters, such as Vufi Ra, Lando's droid companion. I have heard several others here on YouTube really praise these books, and the word I keep hearing the most when describing them was underrated. I have to say, I agree. For coming from a time when there wasn't a lot of Star Wars books being released, these books are really engaging, and I really appreciate L. Neil Smith's creativity and being able to have Lando very prominent in his solo stories that don't revolve around other familiar characters. These books are filled with excitement, action, adventure, and suspense. These adventures take place approximately 5 to 6 years before the events of The Empire Strikes Back, and after reading them, you tend to see Lando in a new way. Now, of course, like most other Star Wars books, they do have their flaws. For me, it was mostly with the 3rd book, which I didn't enjoy as much as the other 2, but I didn't hate it. I just wasn't a fan of how the story was executed. And on that note, if I were to rank these books based on my personal enjoyment, then I would probably rank them by number 3, The Starcave of ThonBoka, number 2, The Mindharp of Sharu, and number 1, The Flamewind of Odeon. But with that said, guys, I definitely recommend that you pick up a copy of the Lando Calrissian Adventures. If anything else, it's a great example of how you don't need Jedi or lightsabers to have a great Star Wars story. These adventures are great either as individual books or as one book with all collected adventures in this case. And on that note, as a whole, I'm going to give the Lando Calrissian Adventures 4 out of 5 stars. Thanks so much for checking out this review, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful, and hopefully I can revisit these books soon and review each book individually. But if you read these adventures, then what do you think? Like them or hate them? Which was your favorite or least favorite? Either way, post your comments down below and I'll definitely check them out. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this review, and please consider subscribing if you'd like to stay updated for more reviews. And until next time, this is Red 5 standing by.